This is another video I've been wanting to do for a while since Moon Knight's popularity is on the rise. I wouldn't say he's exactly mainstream yet, but he definitely has a loyal following. Alright, let's go. His first appearance is in Werewolf by Night issue number 32, where he is hired by the committee to capture the Werewolf by Night Jack Russell. They hire him for $10,000, and they actually provide the Moon Knight suit and tell him to wear it. Now later in the Moon Knight series, they actually explain how the committee came upon that suit. In Werewolf by Night 33, it continues the story where Moon Knight captures the werewolf and brings him to the committee. And when he realizes the committee is up to no good, he sort of feels sorry for Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, and winds up letting him go. Marvel Spotlight issue number 28 is a real important issue because this is the first time that we see Marlene and the fact that Mark Spector plays these different characters other than the Moon Knight. We have Jake Lockley, the cab driver. We have Stephen Grant, the millionaire. We also get a glimpse at all the characters that reoccur in his Moon Knight series, like Gina, who works at the diner, or a homeless man named Crawley, who is Jake Lockley's informant. Also in this issue, Moon Knight faces the Conquer Lord, who has gathered quite a bit of intel on Moon Knight and who's behind the mask. It was also revealed in this issue that when Moon Knight was bitten by the werewolf, that the werewolf's saliva entered Moon Knight's bloodstream and enhanced his already supernatural power. Coming up next is the Defenders issue number 47, which is the first time that Moon Knight teams up with other heroes. And the funny thing is, the Hulk actually hates him in this story. I only mention this because ironically Moon Knight becomes one of the backstories in the Hulk magazine. The next team up is with Spider-Man in Peter Parker the Spectacular Spider-Man, issues 22 and 23, where they are out to protect a mob informant and they go up against the Cyclone. In the Hulk issue number 11 is when Moon Knight starts his backstory. I wanted to include all of these Hulk magazines, and I know not all of them have been CGC'd, but they are really cool, and the reason is a thing called Super Marvel Color, which these magazines were printed in. So check out how vivid these colors are. Another significant one from this series is issue number 13, which marks the first Bill Sinkowick's artwork. And this magazine was published in February of 1979. And in issue 17 and 18, Mark goes up against his brother Randall Spector, who turns out to be a serial killer who wants revenge on Mark. Here is Marvel Preview issue number 21. Now this issue was printed in the spring of 1980, and the reason I mention this is because I've seen a few websites out there give this book credit as Bill Sinkowick's first artwork for Moon Knight. Moon Knight issue number 1, where we finally learn Moon Knight's origin story. Here's a real quick summary. Marlene and her father uncover a tomb. Mark is there as a mercenary with Bushman. Bushman of course wants to raid the tomb, and Mark tries to stop him, and in the process Marlene's father gets killed, but he saves Marlene. So now Bushman feels betrayed by Mark, so he dumps him in the desert. So now Mark is dying in the desert. They discover his body and bring him back to the tomb, where he dies at the base of the statue Khonshu, where the spirit of Khonshu enters Mark's body and he's resurrected with the power of the moon god. Moon Knight issue number 4 is a pretty important issue because it explains how the committee obtained the Moon Knight costume to begin with, way back in Werewolf by Night issue number 32. Moon Knight issue number 12 is the first appearance of Detective Flint and Morpheus. So Morpheus gets his power from unreleased dream energy. He can't sleep, so he can't dream, and the energy builds up, which he's able to harness it and use it for destructive purposes. Now throughout the Moon Knight series, there are a few other first appearances, but I really wouldn't call them keys just yet, until we get to issue 25, which is the first appearance of the Black Spectre, which most consider one of Moon Knight's biggest foes. Of the books in this series, I would say this is the most undervalued, and if you get a chance to grab one in a high grade, I highly suggest it because there's not a lot out there. Mark Spector Moon Knight issue number 1. I really wouldn't say it's a big key, but it is the first one of this series. Alright, now we get to issue number 55, which is the first artwork of Stephen Platt. And I love how he took it to this whole new level. He wasn't afraid to be gruesome or bloody or violent. And he must have had a thing for muscle-bound dudes because every character had over-exaggerated muscles. I included a few panels just so you could see. As always, thanks for watching and stay tuned for my next video. And if you'd like to comment below on any other issues that you think are keys, I think it would be a really cool discussion.